this Northeast region is a very important space for Dan and I. I know 2 years ago I was invited. It's an honor to be asked to speak for a few minutes. Everybody clears their schedule and you could be doing something else. So it really is important to each presenter up here to give their best. And I remember praying that I would get laryngitis. Maybe a few of you were here 2 years ago, because speaking in front of large groups is certainly not on my top 100 things that are my favorite thing to do. Yet it's something that I feel an average individual being up here may be an example of what others can achieve. So we're here to give a little background there. Dan and I are from the great state of Buffalo, and if you hadn't been aware of this very beautiful term that's been gifted to us from a senior partner, Peter, you might have felt excitement. Wow, they don't even know where they live. Isn't a state. If they're directors and national supervising coordinators, I'm going to be extremely wealthy, right? But we do know that we're not a state. It's just a state of mind that we bring to the table every day. And we certainly cherish all of those that work with us and have expanded beyond just the Buffalo area as well. So my background, I started with the company almost right about 17 years ago. My mom actually came across her desk. She worked at Gaines Metzler Kreiner and Company. At the time, it was one of the 50 accounting firms in the nation. And although she loved her job, sometimes she was there 80 hours a week. And 2 life events happened to her. My sister was diagnosed with the end stages of multiple sclerosis at the age of 20, and my grandmother, who lived with us, passed away. So she said to herself, I've loved my life, but what is the next chapter going to look like? And so she was looking for an exit strategy to be home with her family more. So I watched her for a few years and quite honestly thought everything looked beautiful, but I cry in front of 2 people. Just ask me about my family and you'll all experience it. And I thought to myself, I don't know any old people with joint pain. That's how I felt 17 years ago. Now it's my favorite division because I ran a lot of track and I love our joint pain products. But when I looked at the company, I said, why not an extra income stream for myself? So I didn't have my shop.com tattoo. I do now, but when I first started, it was just going to be side income. So I was a single parent as this entered my life, and I was working at a family-owned Italian restaurant, and a dear friend who I went to high school with was the dishwasher at that restaurant. And he said to me, hey, Shannon, we're going out after with, a friend from high school, Dan Hurley. You want to go out tonight with all of us? And Dan's a few years older than me. And I was a shy high school girl that didn't really speak to a lot of people. And so I said, I know him. I'm familiar with him. Sure, why not? And he has been the best friend, the best business partner in 17 years that I could ever have dreamed for. So let me have you hear from him.
Well, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. So 17 years ago, Shannon introduced me to Market America, and I was convinced that I was going to save her from this business. With an engineering background, the biggest problem is I had to figure out how it worked so I could go back to her and tell her how it wasn't going to work. Well, I publicly thank Shannon all the time because I did not make this very easy for her to show me this business at all. And if it wasn't for her continuing to follow up with me, I wouldn't be here today, and I would not have had the lifestyle that we've had. So thank you for following up to me.
Thank you.
I know it was not very easy to do whatsoever. So those of you that know the Buffalo area, our bars are open till 4 o'clock in the morning, and so we're kind of known as a party town. We've had a little struggle keeping up with that reputation because we're getting older, and so now we got to start sneaking out of the room so they don't see that Buffalo has left the room. But I remember a story a few years after I had joined the business and we were doing very well. Shannon's mother had divulged to me that when I joined the company, or Shannon was going to show me the business, because of all the parties that we had and all the reputation behind that, Shannon's mother's like, I don't know if that's the kind of person we want in this business. So needless to say, we have survived all of that, and certainly have enjoyed that. And today we're going to talk about, the 17 years of the one-on-ones, two-on-ones, HBPs and UBPs, and we got to laugh at each other. So Larry, this is our Buffalo Broadway production, so please bear with us. We will do the best we can, but we're going to act out a little bit of some of the extreme things that we have seen. I'll give an example, and you think you've seen it all. So 2 months ago, I was doing a business presentation at a friend's house that had just joined the business, and the house is a little chaotic. Well, she was very excited to announce that she's breeding her dog because she wanted puppies to sell. Well, needless to say, she was breeding her dog right then and there. So literally, we were sitting out in the back patio with a couple guests trying to show them the business as her dogs are breeding 10 feet from us. So trust me, 17 years later, we still haven't seen it all. So you gotta have fun with it, you gotta laugh at yourself, but one of the goals is to try to keep it as, distraction-free as possible so that people can actually pay attention.
I remember a beautiful memory, and they really are just great memories of these 17 years. We were doing an HVP, and many of you might know the talented Jim Dwyer. He was in our area, and he was coming to do an extra home business presentation. And it was actually someone within Dan's team, and she was a really sharp woman. We were excited to expand, and she said, come out to our beach house. We'll do it there. Sure, no problem. That sounds like fun. All of a sudden, as we're driving, the location got adjusted. We arrive, and we're doing this presentation on the beach with lots of people walking around. We have a whiteboard. Poor Jim is getting heckled like no one's business from everybody walking around. And the greatest memory I have is a very tall, large gentleman that had a jean thong that chose to stand right in front of us as we were continuing to do that presentation. So again, every little thing is part of the journey and part of the memories. And as you've said, Dan, to me many times through an article, we go through life and our time goes quicker the older we get. And the point of our time is to really capture different experiences on a daily basis to actually allow your life to be very full and actually feel longer than what you have left in life. So those are just a few of our dear memories. We do also want to thank Phil and Sue Guido. You've heard over and over, every single person that comes on the stage, they say this is their favorite business training within our company. And because of the counsel that you lead and the time and love you give, it's still 17 years later, the only training that pours business building from the second you begin to the second you leave. And we do not take that for granted. So thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to start with our two-on-one skit. And we have a few wonderful actors that are going to start acting that out. Please come on stage.
So welcome to our window of learning through our cup of coffee at our local coffee shop. Also, our local home event for a new partner and for our hotel presentation for our unfranchised business presentation.
Oh, excited. Thanks for joining my thing. This is going to be great. Come on. Do we need to take one? Oh, Kev, hey. This is my friend Ann.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Show her our thing. I'm so excited.
Ann, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I'm all right. Ann, what do you know? I don't know how much you know about our business, but I want to tell you, Mark.
She just got so excited and told me nothing and said I have to come with her. Yep, just to come. And I just trust her, so I'm here.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. Market America is a 24-year-old company. We're headquartered in Greensboro, North Carolina. A very financially sound company. Top rated with the Better Business Bureau. We actually won the Better Business Bureau's Torch Award in 2013, which, as you may know, is for business ethics. It's really a remarkable business opportunity.
I'm sorry to Who is he again? Like his
Oh,
name was
he's a
Kevin?
business partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just don't know if you're an important guy. I should be listening to you. Okay.
Yeah.
He's very cool.
Yeah.
He's very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you all my attention, but I'm sorry. A little distracted.
Okay, well,
Okay.
have you thought about why you might want to do a business like this?
No, I don't know
There's
anything about it.
A lot of different reasons people do it. An additional source of income, a
Okay.
retirement income, for time freedom,
Okay.
for
Wow, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about.
You doing all right?
I don't know. I'm getting a little overwhelmed.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
Not quite yet.
I've seen this a bunch of times. Just give me a second, okay?
yeah, sorry.
Hey,
and-
I'm just doing a business.
All right, guys. So the first section, how many times have we gone to a 2-on-1? And number one, you've brought a guest. You didn't even tell them a third person was showing up. So please do not bait and switch people. We want to make sure that people know that there's going to be a third party sitting there with you, actually showing the plan. So you've got to build it up. Have a discussion with Kevin ahead of time to let him know, a little bio maybe on Ann, and that everybody really knows that they're meeting together. Secondly, look, I've been doing it for 17 years. I've seen the plan a few times, but when you do a 2-on-1 situation, you're sitting there, you need to pay attention to the presenter like it's the first time you're seeing the business plan. Very, very important, because the guest, they're just paying attention to what you're doing. And if you're not paying attention, you're telling that guest that what Kevin has to say is not very important. And then finally, just introducing the guest to Kevin doesn't have any real value. That guest doesn't know if Kevin, is a bum on the street. Let's be honest, there's no edification there. So it is so important, either before or right before you introduce Kevin, is you build Kevin up. What's his background? What is his credentials? Why am I bringing Kevin here? The more you build Kevin up, the more you edify Kevin, the more the person is going to pay attention, and it is such an important part.
Beautiful. And getting obsessed in this 2-on-1 environment, what am I doing on a daily basis? Sometimes it's really wonderful. I'd go on lots of 2-on-1s if I had them to book, right? So how do we get to that point? We have to be willing to actually do some work. And maybe if you're not so comfortable on the business plan, what would we want to spend our time doing? Practicing, learning the tools. Ryan Stack showing the plan. Dan Hurley, he's showing the plan. I'm a little biased. He has a video out. There's so many videos available. If we actually want to be great at showing the plan, we can find so many resources that cost zero that we can just practice over and over again, like some of the presenters that have shared. And if we want to be accountable to make this happen instead of wish for this to happen, maybe you might want to do what Lynn Brianne, a professional coordinator within our team, has done. She created small text groups of 4 to 5 people, so you cannot hide. And on a daily basis, you, in the morning, put what your one goal is to accomplish for the day, and at the evening, you have to put if you completed it or not. And it has moved mountains for so many of us business partners in the room. If you're looking, lastly, one last thought here, if you're looking to create from product use, at this meeting, it might be a great time to talk about the holidays, what our team is doing, right? We're doing sample baskets. Anybody remember those from the old days, or maybe you use them currently? Sample baskets are getting the person to experience our products when they love them, right? That moves them so much farther ahead in the process. So a few of us put $25 in for this holiday within our team, and we're giving away a $500 value of gift cards and experiences from partners that are within our shop.com site. And so when we go, we only put $25 in, yet we get to talk about a raffle that is $500 worth. So that's leverage and working with your team. And we give them the sample basket, and all we want them to do is try whatever products they want in that basket, and then go on to our shop.com site and do a review. That helps all of us, also helps us in our own local business, and then they're entered into the raffle. And so we get to be a little Santa Claus in December and promote and support that. So that's one way to keep moving people through the process.
All right, back to our skit.
So, Ann, like most of us, I assume you have to go shop. You buy things like paper towels, toilet paper, tires for your car.
Of course.
cosmetics, all that kind of thing. What if I could show you
cool
a way that you could convert that money that you have to spend anyway into an income source for yourself? That'd be
Really?
interesting. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I have to buy all that stuff now.
Absolutely. We call it the shopping
Sorry.
annuity, and
Sorry, I dropped my paper.
it's
Sorry,
a way for you.
she's distracting.
She is. I know.
So once again, it's so important to pay attention to the speaker because again, everything that Casey's doing, if she's going up to get a drink, you know, she's looking at her phone, she's not paying attention at all and will not pay attention to what Kevin has to say. All right, back to the skit.
All right, so let's talk about the next steps that we want to take. We've had a lot of information that we've talked about today, and I'm sure you've got a lot of questions. And in fact, I'm sure you agree that education is important to learning about any kind of a business.
Of course.
So we have a great opportunity coming up January 14th. Lynn Mitchke, a real professional in our business, is coming in to train on the nuts and bolts of how to build a business. This is only a $30 ticket. We can sell you one tonight and get you some training.
No. I wouldn't even worry about
Yeah,
that.
but I've got the money right here. I could pay for the ticket.
I've been to those, and to be quite frank, I am amazing, and I'll show you myself. You're good. You're good.
So finally, and again, you got to laugh at yourselves, and this doesn't happen often, but obviously we forget of the whole point of the two-on-one meeting is to get the follow-up meetings. So whether that's a UBP, a local seminar, pulling out your calendar and getting together on another two-on-one, really Kevin's whole job is just to get the person interested enough to the point where that person is going to do a follow-up meeting, go to one of these events. And it's kind of like today, right? It's kind of like going to a concert. How do you go home and describe how good that concert was? I know what's going to happen is you're going to go home and try to describe how amazing this two-day event was, and people will not understand that. You cannot just portray that or give that to them. They have to be there to experience that. So let's give our wonderful Buffalo actors a hand here. Okay, so in summary, you need to make sure that you show up with materials. Again, a lot of people will show up with nothing and expect that the person that is presenting the plan has brought in everything between samples and other material, not edifying the speaker. That is so important. If you don't edify that speaker, that person will not pay attention. You need to build them up so that that person is going to, grab every single word that's saying, they're saying. Interrupting the speaker is very difficult. This is what I struggle with. We can start showing the plan and I get very excited. We start jumping in. I know how hard it is not to jump in or jump ahead because we get excited, but really you've built up that speaker to really do the edification, to really show that plan. And then certainly, again, most important, I can't tell you how many meetings I've been on, where the person that I'm showing the plan for is biting their nails, checking their phone, getting up to go, do drinks, on the phone or something like that, because they think all their job was to bring them to this two-on-one. Their job is to sit there like this is the first time that they're ever seeing it. Okay, so very important. Edify the speaker, right? Have the flip chart, have a notepad. I think anytime you can sit there and actually take notes of what the speaker is saying is very important. Having a home shopping list, having a ticket to the next event. Those of you guys that have heard me speak or see me work, I really think the physical calendar is so important. So when I'm opening up that calendar, well, all the tickets to all the next events are stapled right in my calendar. So when I'm scheduling it, that guest is seeing that right there and either asking about it or have the ticket right there for the next, event. And then give the presentation your undivided attention. So that was our two-on-one. These guys did a great job. Give them a hand for that. So the next section we're going to do is from a two-on-one, eventually, just like Steve Harris has talked about, we want to get to an HBP. So the HBPs are very important. Okay, so go ahead, my wonderful Buffalo actors for the HBP, please come on stage.
So here we are. We are at Anne's home, who was the guest at the 2-on-1. So now we're moving into an atmosphere that has some different distractions, as you've already noticed, correct? So let's see what this home business presents.
Like Mr. Flipper? Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for coming to my house. Sorry I didn't have time to clean it, but I'm sure you'll forgive me. I just wanted to introduce my friend Rick. He's going to talk about some interesting information. Rick, this is everybody.
So once again, it is so important to edify the speaker, right? Again, it happens all the time. We have brand new people, maybe somebody has brought a guest with them, and all she's done is, you said Rick is going to show us this business. You got to build up Rick. You got to build him, the importance of him, where he's coming from. It doesn't have to be Market America things, and maybe it's his normal background, so that the people in the room will pay attention.
And an ideal situation and edification is not to go extreme, just be sincere and honest. There's greatness in everyone, so find that and speak about that.
Hi everyone, I am Rick, and let me take a minute and introduce myself. I'm Rick, I'm a franchise owner.
She's a little gassy today.
I'm also a temporary postal employee, and I'm also a small-town judge.
You know what? I just realized everybody's not here.
Everybody's not here?
No, I'm still waiting for a couple people, and I really need them to be
Well, we
here.
were supposed to start.
All right.
Okay, Rick.
So once again, certainly lots of distractions, right? I just told you about the one that I was just at. That was probably my top one with them breeding dogs. But you want to make sure that it's distraction-free. You certainly want to edify Rick, and you got to prepare the situation. Anne's brand new, right? She might be on a trial run. She might be brand new to the business, so she doesn't know. So it would really be Casey's job, right, who is bringing Anne on board to set the stage, to let Anne know what to expect, what to do, right? Usually the person that owns the home is going to introduce the speaker, okay, and then from there maybe Casey, who's the distributor, right, the newest, is going to say a few things, and she's the one that's really going to edify Rick, and then have certainly Rick showing the plan.
Well, you've seen several of the products now. I just want to tell you a little bit about my favorite. My favorite division is TLS. A little over a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to change my life. As a temporary postal employee, I was working a lot of hours, and I also walk about 7 miles a day, but your body gets used to that. 7 miles a day of walking can drop the weight off of several people, but your body gets used to that. So I decided to start running and get an extra 5 miles a day in. And, well, now, what are we doing now?
Does anybody want a cocktail?
What?
Cocktail?
I promise we'll get through this.
Margaritas. They're margaritas.
It won't take that long. We're coming in for a landing here.
Do you want one? Like,
I got some water here. I'm good.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, I just wanted to interrupt real quick because I think
I mean, you're a baby,
my
but you
sponsor told me TLS was called Transitions.
Oh.
This is huge, huge. So one word, we are starting on time to respect the individuals, no matter who else was planning on joining us, right? That is a very clear picture that we want to start on time to respect those that did arrive on time. The disaster of this house that is, of course, acting. It's certainly not Anne's regular home environment, but we appreciate her acting skills. The disaster of the house, the bad environment, we all love babies. I would think, all love dogs, right? So if you know that you're going to have a colicky baby or that happens, you want to just make sure you're moving right out of that. Obviously, ideally, that wouldn't even be in the environment, right? We also, there are people that have animals that we do home business presentations for. If you know that they're a little wild when guests are around, you want to make sure you prepare that new colleague and tell them that we want to have as little distractions as possible, no matter how cute and wonderful they are, right? So interrupting and correcting the presenter is a very big important. If it's 6 billion or 7 billion, we can move through that conversation after the presentation, right? There's nothing that takes away the power of a presenter if you're there correcting them during that presentation.
Okay, thank you guys. We're going to set up, give these guys a hand, our wonderful Buffalo actors. So you want to go through that?
Sure. So we want to keep food and drink to a minimum, right? The power of that duplication is very important. Acknowledge your appreciation for those who are there. Start on time. Sit in on the meeting. It doesn't matter if it's your home or you're a business partner supporting that home. You don't want to be in the other room. You don't want to be doing other things. You want to be very present to explain to the guests that this is important information that we're about to be reviewing. Minimize those distractions. And of course, booking follow-up appointments. That's the whole goal, isn't it? Every appointment is what's the next step. I'm booking into that next appointment. We also don't have time to talk about everything in these environments, but with these two scenarios and the one we're about to move on forward to, the unfranchised business presentation, would you agree that a bio of that potential partner or client is very important? I'd love to ask if you could give yourself a report card on, do you give the bios to those senior partners or those colleagues that are presenting for you? Because I know I ask, I don't care if it's a UBP, come in advance or then off to the side and make sure you give me a little background. What does bio mean? What do they do or did they do? What is a hot button that they have of importance to them? It doesn't matter how great our business is to all of us. What's important to them that would be meaningful for an extra income stream for them? And how were they invited so that I know what we're walking into? So a bio of the prospect is a critical example, and samples of our products at a 2-on-1 or at an HBP are critical to help you in moving that.
Hey, Becky, I'm glad I got here early.
No, we can't sit there.
Wait, one
No,
moment.
this is really important.
Saving
It's
a
really
seat.
important.
Hey, the guy's coming.
So,
Really
ladies and
important.
gentlemen,
No,
we're
I
going
really-
to get started in about 1 minute. If you could please get your seats, that would be great.
Listen,
about 1 minute.
Yeah, I got my shipment, and I got the Snap laundry detergent, the cap broke off, everything spilled on my product.
Carl, I'm so sorry.
And I checked my thermochrome, and it was short, 1 pill.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you know what? Can we talk about?
Okay, so obviously, and again, I know we're exaggerating it here. You don't see this a lot at certainly UVPs. Yeah, never, right? It never happens, right? Especially in the Northeast. But you can see a couple things. Certainly saving seats. Now again, a lot of these events we do have reserved seats, but usually we're going to open those seats up at least 15 minutes before the event so that we can fill those seats in. You don't want to be sitting in the front of the room and continually looking back so where your guest is not showing up. And I'll tell you, one of the worst is always or talking about the guests that did not show up. Even worse than talking about the guests that did not show up is standing there with a guest and then talking about the person that didn't show up. Because the best that you brought is sitting there going, well, what about me? I'm not important enough? So certainly that. And then again, we got to laugh at ourselves. You know, things happen no matter what. But then coming up to the presenters or really anybody, your team, your upline, and complaining about a broken bottle or a shipment was late or whatever, the UBP is never, ever, ever the environment to talk about, things going wrong or worry about shipping or something like that. The UBP is specifically for guests to see the business plan. All right, thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming tonight. Market
Touchdown.
America is
Yes. I gotta call Mark.
24-year-old company founded in 1992.
Mark, did you see it?
And
Yeah.
global
Browns might win a game
headquarters,
this year.
global headquarters are in Greensboro, North Carolina. We are a product brokerage and internet marketing company, and we specialize in one-to-one marketing. All set?
So once again, certainly, and again, what you don't realize is you've got to coach even your guests a little bit, before the UBP starts, tell them to go ahead and use the restroom, tell them to go ahead and, get something to drink. You really want to prepare your people to show up early. I don't tell people the UBP starts at 7:30. Tell your guests it starts at 7, so that hopefully they'll show at 7:15, so that they'll be seated and ready by certainly 7:30. And then again, you can imagine all the different distractions that can happen. There will be babies at HBPs and certainly 2-on-1s every once in a while, but definitely the UBP, guys. This is really not an environmentally friendly environment for kids. The simplest distraction just stops the whole show, doesn't it? All that time and energy you've put into bringing guests, they're no longer paying attention as soon as there's something else going on. A baby being distracted, people getting up. And the craziest thing, this is one of the most important things, it seems like the smallest things. The people in the back of the room are watching what the people in the front of the room are doing. So the person in the front of the room, if they're not paying attention to the speaker, you just told all the guests in the room that this speaker is not important and there's no reason to pay attention to this. Everybody in that room needs to pay attention.
So as I said before, Market America is a
Wait,
product brokerage
I have to go to the
company,
bathroom.
and we have many incredible products. Isotonics would be one of our most popular divisions and lines, and specifically our OPC3.
Oh my gosh, wait, the OPC is awesome, but you should talk about pet health. Seriously, Mr. Fluffers died, I sprinkled pet health OPC on him, back to life. It's amazing.
That's as an OPC3
I
for
know.
our pets was
I know.
fantastic as
Right.
well.
So once again, you guys have to, laugh at each other, but these things happen. Our products are amazing. There's absolutely no reason to have to exaggerate any claims. Certainly, I guess if it brings your dog back to life, I need to know about that too. But we have an amazing products. Testimonials are fine, but certainly stick to real testimonials. There's no reason to go through with that. Again, make sure your guest knows to use the restroom or get water ahead of time. And everybody in that room should be paying attention. And at the very beginning, right, make sure that you ask people to turn their cell phones off. One of the things, again, phones are very distracting and whatnot. I know we all live by it now, but just remind your guest, and certainly this, the presenter should be asking people to turn their phones off. Certainly this is not the environment for food or drink, okay? So this is really specific information, and again, pay attention to that, like it's the very first time that you're seeing it. Want to read the summaries?
Sure. So don't dress inappropriately. Constantly looking at the door for guests is obviously not where the energy should be placed. To enter the presentation late is not the ideal situation. You certainly don't want to come to the front of the room and create more distractions. Staring at your phone, texting and talking. Everybody does it, and if it's important and you're going to have that, then sit in the back of the room and be as invisible as possible. Get up during the presentation. Clearly distracts the presenter and everyone else involved. So we do want to dress appropriately, arrive at least 15 minutes early, if at all possible, minimize those distractions, stay in your seat, watch, listen, learn, and take notes. Really, that is one beautiful piece that you can play, one for your own education, but also to let others know around you and to let the speaker know what you're taking from them. No negative talk. There's absolutely no reason to have any of that in that space. And then meeting after the meeting, introducing your guests is the magic piece to it all, right? That's a critical part of it. I know that we want to always remember that our guests and the speaker are there for you. Be sure they receive your attention and gratitude. People pay far more attention to what you do than what you say, right? And this is a business, and if we want to make a professional income, we should act professionally. So one piece through all of these at every single point are those tickets, that word ticket that we've heard all weekend, right? So I know that you've gotten some gems already, and there's still so much more to come after lunch that will be worth that investment in yourself. So I just want to leave you with this. My business partner, my talented professional, Jonathan, and I started 17 years ago thinking $300 a month coming into our mailbox would be really great to let life get a little more comfortable. With a lot of debt for school and me rolling quarters to make ends meet as a waitress and a sales associate at Express, I didn't really understand or imagine this big money on a weekly basis coming in. But as 300 a month started, 300 a week seemed doable. As 300 a week started, 3,000 a week seemed possible. Mission possible. Now 10,000 a week seems like it will be here tomorrow for my family. And I just want you to understand the power of tickets. When we had three partners in our entire business, we purchased 10 tickets to the next major event. And I wonder if you could possibly guess, if you don't know me, how many we had 6 months later at the next major event. Would you hope that we had 10? Would you be okay if we had 7? We had 70. 70 business partners at the next major event, so there's no confusion at why in an 18-month time frame we were at a 6-figure income. Just do the work and you will make the money. Thank you to our beautiful state
All
of
right,
Buffalo.
give it up for our great Buffalo, New York, the state of Buffalo actors.